Hey everyone, it's Arthur Burton here once again, aka this is your boy 360. We're here today to talk about Black people problems, and the podcast is called Livin in America, which focuses on issues concerning Black Americans. Now today we're going to be discussing Black relationships between men and women. Now, it is apparent that most Black men, according to research studies from Pew Research, feel that it's very difficult to get into a committed relationship. Now, there are several reasons men should consider committing themselves to their relationships. Many African American women believe that Black men are unfaithful, would rather hang out with their homeboys rather than be at home with them in the evening. And especially those women that have children, and they feel that they don't want to subject their child to a relationship with a man who is never around, who's running out on the streets and cheating. And this complicates things in relationships. There are several reasons for a non-commitment, and a lot of those are very psychological. Some women have had previous relationships where they were abused in those relationships, whether verbally or physically, and they don't put their trust as they should in African American men. Now, the reasoning probably behind it is that we don't take the time to get to know each other first. Now, the courting season, for those that don't know, is like going out on dates, sitting down, talking, getting to know each other, rather than the instant physical attraction of jumping into the bed and sleeping with each other. Now, there are many circumstances that we all are going to have to deal with. African American men have a lot of issues, especially concerning respect at work, police violence against Black men. It makes it overly complicating to focus on relationships, especially when your mind is all over the place thinking about other things. Now, African American men and African American women, if we look at the statistics, it shows that many African American men are single, as well as many African American women. That there is no committed relationship. The majority, about 80%, have children outside of their relationship, which causes another issue within the relationship that they're trying to gain. Now, in order to be fully committed to a relationship, we first have to be fully committed to ourselves. And as a Black African American man, there are things that you have to learn to give up, and there are things that you have to learn to tolerate. There can be no control in relationships between one person controlling another, because that makes that an abusive relationship. And sometimes in these little intricacies and the statements that are made, it kind of makes people feel trapped, especially if you have a female who has a lot of friends, who's used to hanging out with her friends. Her girlfriends may not be in a relationship, so they can't understand relationships, but they give relationships advice. It's the same thing with men, that you can't go to the king bachelor's house and get advice on a committed relationship. Those things just don't work. Now, take it from your boy here. It is imperative that you understand that you are the provider. You are the person that's supposed to hold the relationship together as a man. But you also have to remember that that person that you're with, that female that you're with, is not your property. That female has her own mind, her own goals, and sometimes they match, but then sometimes they don't. And if you're overcritical, what you will eventually find yourself in is an abusive domestic relationship, because now you're overly aggressive, telling the female what they can and cannot do, and that makes them not committed. Vice versa, with the female always on top of the man, telling him, hey, why are you hanging out with your friends so much? There has to be a compromise. Now, there are several issues that are going to come up. There are financial issues. A lot of times, women don't understand, but African American men go to work and they're working in a place that doesn't respect them. They're working in a place that doesn't really give them the power and control and they may be talked down to depending on what type of job you're doing. I've been in that situation that you go to work and your boss is on you all day and now you're mad. You can't come back on the boss. So what happens? You go home and then you decide that you're upset and everything somebody does is a problem within your house. The kids, they're talking too much. The TV's too loud. The woman hasn't cleaned the house. She didn't cook you the meal that you wanted. These are things as black men we have to learn to pull ourselves back from. Let's not get caught up in the hype. Let's not get caught up saying, hey, I'm the man in my house. I mean, we all can say this between the boys, but shouldn't say that in front of the women and in front of the children at home, that we're in charge and that everything has to be done our way. If it's not done our way, it's the wrong way. We have to be considerate. And we have to listen to other people's opinion, especially, I shouldn't say other people. You have to listen to your girlfriend, your wife. You have to listen to what they're saying. You have to listen to their goals. You have to listen sometimes, especially when you're in financial difficulties, which most Black American men are. These difficulties come from a lot of different things. As we see statistically, most Black men unfortunately have had encounters with the police, negative encounters where maybe you were arrested or maybe you were just doing your thing and you got caught up. That stops you from getting the proper job that you want, and you have to take jobs that you normally wouldn't do. But then you have to consider, what can you do? Nothing. You have to accept life as it is in order to make it better. You have to go and say, I'm going to put my foot down, and maybe education is the solution. Maybe finding another job where you don't work and you have supervision on your back all day. Maybe you take a job as a truck driver or something where you'll get your assignments in and then you'll go out for the day. You do what you got to do and then you come back. All of these things must be considered when we're thinking about relationships. Relationships are key to comfortability, in my opinion. I believe that if you have somebody that's on your side, that's pushing for you and actually helping you and calming you down when you're upset, these are the things that are going to make us as a race. You know, it's a bad pocket that at 2 o'clock in the morning, if I want to go to the store to buy a soda, I have to consider that how far is it to the store? Am I going to get pulled over along the way? Am I going to be verbally abused, assaulted, or is the store going to be held up? You know, we don't live in a society that protects us. Like we said before, we have a lot of people that aren't working and they decided to take the criminal route. They decided to be a robber or they decided to be a thief. Those relationships, for those people is going to be very bad because they may be in a committed relationship, go out there to do something, get arrested. Now they're away from their spouse, away from their girlfriend. And, you know, those type of relationships are really on shaky ground. So in order for us to try to maintain a great relationship, we have to consider all of the issues that we face today. There is a matter of fact that states that Black African Americans' relationships do not last. And the reason they don't last is sort of like the Jim Crow law. Let's stop looking at what people are telling us from the outside. Let's start thinking for ourselves and saying, what do I need to do? I really love this person and I want to be in a committed relationship. What do I need to change about myself so that this relationship can last? I like a good game. But every Sunday, I can't be sitting over with the boys, drinking, smoking, and chilling while my spouse stays at home alone. You kind of got yourself caught up. I mean, everybody likes to have fun. And look, fellas, we got technology, man. If you can't show, man, you can Skype with your boys and you can be there listening to what they're talking about and still be at home and showing the wife some attention or the girlfriend some attention. We have to, as a race of men, make women comfortable to realize that we all aren't abusive. We all aren't going out there cheating. And, you know, and for a lot of guys, this is where the problem comes in. The minute you see something that looks nice, you don't consider that this person that you're going to cheat with may destroy everything that you have been trying to build. This woman that you're cheating with may be a person that doesn't believe in relationships and just likes to go out and have a good time. And yes, it may be enjoyable, but what does that do for your long-term plan as far as comfortability, buying a house, buying a car, being with someone who's going to be there with you so that you can grow old with, somebody who's going to learn and know you? That is going to destroy your relationships. The first time you go out and you get caught, their trust will be broken. Women believe that once you cheat, you will always cheat. Same thing with men. If the woman cheats, she will always cheat. But we have to fall out of the norm. We have to stay away from what people are telling us and what they're telling us is the norm. It's the same thing like with African American men. They believe that we all like to sing, dance, play basketball. And even if we do, that does not depict us as being any less than a person of a different race. We are viewed as people that are animalistic. I'm very offended of that. But I'm not going to jump up and put up my hands because when the police come, I'm going to be the one that catches the charge. So we have to think more along the lines of being intelligent. In our relationships, be intelligent. In our altercations, be intelligent. And let's start living life. Let's start making a commitment to ourselves first and then our relationships. And this is a way that we can actually get ahead in life. I want my daughters to realize that they can find a good man, that all black men aren't bad men. I want them to realize that we all aren't bad, that we all don't go out and cheat, that we all aren't in situations, and we all aren't thinking of how we can run out and sneak out and sleep with the other woman. I spoke with an African American woman that told me that she doesn't deal with black men. Men are men. I don't see any difference between me and either another man in a certain race, but they do. And what has happened is because they have been probably in an abusive relationship, in a relationship where a man cheats, and that's still considered abuse because it's an emotionally disturbance for the woman. A man also in the same boat may not believe that he can catch a woman and he can trust her. And these are things that we need to work out within ourselves. What is the most important thing about a relationship that you desire? What is the reason that you believe that you cannot be in a committed relationship? This is part of building relationships. This is part of building a foundation that is strong. And it is these relationships that will get us past the hump. In order for us to stop all of the issues that we have and all of the black problems that we have to start somewhere. We need to start within ourselves and say we're going to be the person of example. And we are not going to allow these things that happen in life to destroy us, at least within our relationships. We can't control the police violence. We have tried. We have protested. We have stood up. But what we can do is make a strong community, whereas that we as committed family men can get ahead because we're fighting. I do not want my son to be afraid to drive down the street. I do not want to be watching the news and see my child being beat up by police. I do not want to see my child robbing and stealing or abusing his spouse or his girlfriend or his children. But if he sees you as the parent doing it, then he will do the same thing. And as far as the female child, she will think that it's acceptable for the man to control her. All of these things stop us from getting ahead, and we need, as a people, to stand up, be correct, live our lives properly. Be committed to ourselves and our relationships. And this is how we can stand up against all of the Black problems that we face today. But it has to start with us. It has to start with family. Then it has to become community. And then as that community, we can join other communities and we can stand strong. Once again, this is your boy 360. My name is Arthur Burton, and this is Living in America, Black People Problems. I hope you'll tune in again, and I'll see you next time.